Welcome to Business Success Tips, where you can learn to make more money in less time and have more fun, specializing in the have more fun part. I have as a guest today, Craig Moody from the Business Climb. I like that name. It's got to be because you never fall to the top of a mountain, right? It
Yeah,
takes a lot of work.
exactly.
So,
Yeah,
Craig, tell me a little bit
absolutely.
about how you got started, what your business does, and all coaches have their own style. Tell me a little about yours.
Well, I a little over 20 years ago was looking to get out of, I was actually a small business advisor for a printing company. And I was talking to people that own their own businesses, every day. And I was like, man, some of these guys are complete idiots who are making good money. So I was like, I got to get on the other end of this phone, like what I've never really was a risk taker, I would say. But my
Mhm.
brother was an entrepreneur. My dad had a small business going on the side. And I just thought, I want to do this. So I finally found my niche and started a restoration company I saw a need for water damage and that. So I did that contracting. Then I started contracting, did all that for 20 years. Was never passionate about it, I would say. I just didn't know what to do, and it worked. And I actually was very proud to
Mhm.
grow it to be the largest one, in northern Arizona, and from scratch. And it was my first shot at business. But what I very much enjoyed more was the masterminding and the solving problems and going to conferences and watching keynote speakers and the reading and just the learning and then helping others. Just pretty soon I had people coming to me saying, hey, how are we doing this? So I was always part of a mastermind group and just spent a
Mhm.
lot of time, networking, network groups, referral groups, just figuring it out. So from somebody who, I was not that bright and I just literally had to continue learning. I just became the point I just got to the point where I saw my chance to sell, and I sold the business, and I just said I want to go full in on coaching and coaching others and just teaching them
So, how
what
long
I've
have you been coaching others,
yeah.
Craig?
I've been coached. So I sold 2.5 years ago, and I started coaching just right at about 2 years now.
Okay.
So it's been a blast. Yeah, for
That's
sure.
good. So
It's
what do you think makes you special as a coach? What's your like unique selling proposition? What makes you a great coach in your opinion?
I've been there, I've done that, and I understand your pain points.
Okay.
So I think that one of the things that we first start looking on is, like tell me about yourself. Where are you at? So I want to know your strengths and your weaknesses, your current structure, why you're stuck. Are you enjoying it anymore? Where do you want to go with it? Like what do you see? What's your vision? So I kind of see that and just see, first of all, if I'm a good fit for you. There's been times where I said, hey, look, this just isn't my wheelhouse.
Right.
Contractors, service industry, anybody with technicians, anybody that has people leaving and coming back, I think it is a huge point. But I have just been studying, John Maxwell, Darren Hardy, Brian Buffini. I study so much of the people who were successful,
Hmm.
that I have just learned so much. I have dumped hundreds of thousands of dollars into just personal growth and development, which what it truly comes about. And I think leadership really is one of the solve alls, the keys to solving many things is, okay, what do you want to do? What's standing in your way? Let's get you into that leadership role and get rid of the crap. And what should you be doing
So a
mainly?
question I have is probably most people that are in this construction business started out as I'm going to call them some kind of a trade person or a craftsman of some kind, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
they've been a craftsman, they're good at weathercraft, they're good at what they do, and they decide for whatever reason, their boss fired them, their wife yelled at them, pick one, they decide to start their own business, right? So
Mm-hmm.
how do you make the transition from a craftsman to a business owner or entrepreneur, and how do you help people do that?
Now you're basically talking about the principles of the E Myth,
Right.
Mr. Gerber. I don't know if you've heard of that book,
Yeah,
but
I actually met
it's a
him
great
once.
book.
I know the
Yeah,
story.
have you? So yeah, absolutely. So that I mean that's a good one. I think the biggest mistake people make is thinking that just because they were really good at doing their job, they built beautiful hand. They were great finishers. They were great remodelers. They were great framers. Whatever it was, thinking that that will translate into being a great business owner. And that's just not true. So I think the quickest thing they can do is ask for help. I had a client that started not long ago that he immediately out of the gates sought me out and was willing to pay good money to me to help him navigate his way through his first few years. So I think, and it's been tremendous. He's been just growing at amazing clips. So I think helping others is engaging with others is one of the first things you need to do. You need to really bring down the walls, do what we call open the kimono. Like, hey, look, I'm just starting out in business. I don't know what I'm doing, because this male persona, this kind of machoism is more like, hey, I'm going to go start this business and I'm going to kill it, and oh, by the way, I'm going to fake it till I make it. I think that's a terrible strategy. I
Right.
don't like
Have
that
you have
strategy.
you ever worked with people that have been in business a while, they're not getting it? They've been in business 5, 10 years. They seem to be
Oh,
stuck. They're working really hard. They were making more as a carpenter than they are making as owning a framing company, and they don't know why. And so they're going and they're starting questioning, like, I've been doing this 5, 6, 8 years, 10 years. I'm not making any more money. I'm working harder. I'm taking all this risk. Why should I continue? Have you ever met those kind of guys and worked with them?
absolutely. I had a friend that I grew up with that when he let me in, kind of notice on his business, he says, actually, and I kid you not, he probably had 10, 11 employees. He went and got another job just so he could make payroll at his. It was absolutely ridiculous. I have never seen anything so bad. So, yeah, the people, they get into this grind, you know what I mean, where they just start juggling balls, and a lot of them are kind of like, it's just easier if I do it. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Or I'm a control freak. I just got to make sure it's done this way, and I don't want to replace and go get better people. They become this fix it factory almost, like, oh yeah, they're
Mhm.
getting better. They're getting better. I know. I really like them. They're good people. I'm going to hold on to him because he's a great guy. He's going through tough things. He doesn't do his job very well, but he's a great guy. They just get
Right.
stuck in that, fix it factory mode, or get lazy, and they just kind of get overall stuck. You know what I mean? We hit what we call the law of the lid. They get to, I don't know, 1.5 million, 2 million, 4 million, whatever it is, and they're just stuck there for years because it's all personal. It's all right here between the ears is
Right.
where they're stuck. Yeah.
So, what advice do you give those people?
Well, I mean, first of all, everyone's different. They all have different strengths and core. So it's basically like, we need to, it's basically kind of saying it's time for change. That's why you're bringing me on. Hire me on, make me part of your team, make me your next hire, and let me help you evaluate the business to see where we're at. We can probably do less with more. It's going to come down to your people. We need to get the right people in the right places. Just, even just putting out an organizational chart in front of us after I do that, I'm saying, okay, here's the organizational chart. And they're all like, oh, wow, this is really cool. I've never made one of these before.
Wow.
You put that in front of them and see the pyramid, and then see where they want to go. Right. And then I'll start putting little, like ghost, like, I need an estimator. Okay, ghost estimator. We don't have the estimator, but we need him. So that's a ghost right
Right.
now. Right. Well, I need an admin assistant. Okay, we're going to make an admin assistant as the ghost in the, you know what I mean? So I started doing this, and then saying, where do you want to go? Okay, well, I want to let go of the estimating. I want to let go of the complete production part. I just want to, manage these people. It's like, awesome, that's fine. So we get to the part where I think you need to get more into a CEO visionary leader, and you're managing managers and not managing the entire company, is
Right.
which I see happening. So it's just like, I need to get people between them and the workforce is one of the things that I've really noticed has been a strength in my last few years.
Okay. Can you give me an example of some company you've done that for and what happened?
Yeah, absolutely. So I had a company where a couple of guys came in and they just kind of hit the law of the lid, actually before they even got to $1 million. And so they were stuck there. One was kind of managing the company, and the other one was doing all the estimating. And they really didn't have he was also doing all the bookkeeping too on the side, and his wife was helping out. They didn't really have a marketing program because they didn't need it yet. So basically, I went ahead and made the chart and said, what are we going to call you? You're the president, you're the VP, you're the general manager. What do you need? So we started working on the general manager, what the general manager needed between him and a stop doing list for each one of them. What are we going to have you stop doing so we can grow this company?
Right.
So we brought in an admin. We didn't do marketing in-house. We did it virtually because VA is
Okay.
huge now. Virtually
Right.
assistances are creative, and even billing, just your bookkeeping. You don't need that in-house. I don't have it in-house anymore.
Okay.
A lot of this stuff is done, and it's cheaper. I have my virtual assistant is in Pakistan. He's in Pakistan. He makes
That's
$6 an hour. He
that's a
makes
lot of
six
money in
bucks an hour.
Pakistan.
Oh, he puts him in the six. I'm gonna get. He's in the probably the 65 percentile in Pakistan
Right.
at $6 US. So, just doing that, doing little things on Sean over there, and then we just started really working on the crew that he already had, and a lot of it was just getting rid of this, just replacing. People are just like I said, they become these fix-it factories, and they're just like, this, it worked so good for so long, and then he kind of had a trouble with bringing in outside subs, had to get really comfortable with understanding you're a contractor, you can't handle all the trades, and we got to start using more subs, and started estimating differently to where we're really looking at our QuickBooks, our financials are. That's a big one with contractors. I find is financials that 70% of them just don't understand it. They're like, I got money, I paid bills, I got through my taxes, great. I got a little bit left over for a vacation. You know what I mean? They just do this year after year after year. It's just not healthy. That's the
Right.
scorecard. So teaching them their financials, I think, is another big one. So really zeroing in on the owner, getting that org chart in front of them, getting the structure there, and then what do we need to do? What does this need to look like? And then start working on, the hiring piece of it, which has been the last 3 years has been just nonstop hiring, it seems like.
Okay. So where is that company now? How'd you help them get there? Where were they and where are they now? And how'd you help that happen?
They were at 700,000 and they're at 1 point. I think we're going to finish the year at about 1.7 million. Next year's goal for them is going to be a little over 3.
Okay.
So yeah,
It's profitable volume, right? Obviously.
Right. Correct. Yeah. It's profitable volume wise. We've added maybe, I think we went from 10 to 11 in the field. We added on 2 virtual assistants in bookkeeping and marketing. And then we have a full-time ad as well.
Okay. And so he's working less and making more at this point, right?
Correct. Absolutely. Definitely working less and making more, and just kind of enjoying his job more too. They were just kind of stuck and not enjoying it. Sort of thing. It's like, let's help you enjoy your job again. Let's get this, it's like,
so
you got stress.
Craig, I've been a coach for 50 years. How do you get people to listen to you? That's always my issue. I mean, how do you get them, a consultant is borrows your watch to tell you what time it is, but if you know what time it is, it's a valuable service. So how do you get them to take your advice?
I think just kind of painting the future of I've been there and I've done this is where I was at. Here's what I did to get to to get to a point to selling a contracting company. Only 8% of all contractors will actually sell or have some sort of succession plan.
Right.
8%. That's just, are you kidding me? You
know
what
what
I mean? Like, that's way too low. So I think that just kind of saying, I really kind of get to their pain points too. Like I go to the heart, just go to their, like, are you enjoying this? Is this working for you? We need to make changes. And I will tell you, there's been where some it hasn't worked out. I'm just like, hey, give me a call. You're not ready yet. Give me a call in a year. When people make changes, Paul, most people make changes, is when it hurts bad enough. So for some of them, it hasn't hurt bad enough. They may have talked to me. They may have came in. They may, signed up for a month or two, but it just didn't hurt bad enough. They didn't see the.
So how do you tell if someone is in enough pain to actually change their behavior?
Well, I guess every one of those is different, but most of them are completely stressed out. They have a bad home life. They're missing kids' ball games and school recitals. They've gained weight. It's just not what they signed up for. You know what I mean? It's just like, look, let me come in and help you put a system and structure in place in your business. You have no system. If you have a job, when they say, people, they tell me like, well, I've told them that 100 times. I've told them 100 times. I'm like, really? You've told them that 100 times? I'm like, is it written down? Is it on paper? Is it something that's written down and we can review and put it and say, yeah, I don't want to hear 100 times. I want to say, yeah, they signed off on it. They're drawing Hancocks in the bottom of this job description this is what they're supposed to be doing. So when we give a review and do a performance review, you say, there you go. There, you know what I mean? That's you're managing a system. So right now you're managing employees. What I want you to do is manage a system and let the system manage the employees.
Right. So obviously the feedback loop is really important, right?
Oh, absolutely. Feedback is huge. So yeah, I mean, just week to week, like, my role in the business is basically updating the notes and also just seeing what they should be doing. is a lot of it. Once they start to get it and they start trusting the system, let go and people understand this kind of this first, all these big changes and start to see the growth and the improvements and oh, this is actually working. Then it's just, what should I be doing is what they're asking me. What's my next step? Like, okay, well, we're going to hire this guy. You're going to stop doing the estimating. You're going to stop doing that ordering. You're going to stop doing whatever they want. We come to that agreement.
Okay.
One of them wanted to be he wants to be a real estate investor. So every decision I made for him was to him get out of his business to go to the real estate investment side. That's where we're at right now. Yeah. So every single one is different. But as far as the pain point on your average one, it's just, they're just in their own way. It's painful. And it's just, you really, a lot of just sitting down, a lot of just listening, and then knowing when to give feedback. You become a coach. I'm great with all the X's and O's, but it's part of it. You just got to become a life coach basically too. Like, hey man,
Well, you can't really separate their business life from their personal life, right? It's all one.
No, it's all one. Yeah. It's the, that's the thing with business owners. We all understand each other. And that's why I try to get them all into a mastermind group, like, hey, start meeting with other guys here. I got 2 other guys I coach over here, or, let's, what about this sub? He's been around forever, just kind of like get together, because they're the ones who are going to understand each other really the most. That was me and my mastermind group. Like, it was probably one of the most important things I ever did, because, when I got home, nobody was saying, great job, Craig, way to go.
But Craig, how do you find or establish a mastermind group? Do you look for one online? How do you create your own, or how's a mastermind group work?
Mine actually came, so I was part of a referral group, like a BNI or whatever you want to talk about. But I think referral groups are huge. It's like you get one profession of each group. So you got one realtor, one contractor, one, mortgage person, one lender. Yeah. So, but once we got into the blue collar end of it, we kind of cut away from that. I just started going to these guys, and I had everybody. So we had our leader was actually the owner of the largest realty group in town. We had a painter in there, flooring guy, landscaper. I got a tech startup guy in mind now. You know what I mean? Just
where was that located?
We're in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like Flagstaff.
So
it's a very nice town. I think it's a college town. It's a beautiful town. I've been there like 3 months ago.
Oh, nice. Yeah, absolutely. It's grown quite a bit in my 40 years here, but yeah, for sure. It's it's definitely third world. You got to know when you're talking about, what works in the middle of Houston, middle of Phoenix does not work in the middle of Flagstaff. You got to know your own market.
That's true. Well, I've asked a question. If you met a guy in an airport, all right, and he was a contractor, and he was saying, well, I've been doing this for 8 years and I'm barely making a living. I'm working too hard. You're this big coach guy. I'm for some reason, he's not going to hire you. He's never going to see you again, but you got 15 minutes with him just to, give him some pearls of wisdom that you think from your experience and your success, you would give this guy. And I'm saying he's a remodeling contractor, does a couple million a year, makes $100,000, but works way too hard for it, has employee issues, he can't find the right clients, can't find the right employees. He's just having a hard time. So what advice would you give him?
Well, yeah, I'd probably be asking a lot of questions, but I think the gist of the advice is grow yourself and grow your people. So basically you need to change. Like, what are you doing? Everything that I'd say the quickest way to success is to replace bad habits with good habits. So now I'm digging, what are your bad habits? What is it? You're in every department. You're not letting the admin lady do what she's supposed to be doing. You don't trust them to finish a job without you looking at it. Like, what is it? You're staying up too late. You're sleeping in, you're eating too much. Like, we need to stop changing habits. Secondly, it's human capital. Like, the people, like, you've got to let go of people, liberate them back into the workforce. You know what I mean? I had one guy tell me, him and his wife, actually, they came in and they were telling me, he says, well, he's consistently 30 minutes late every morning, but I got to have him. I'm like, what? And then his wife interrupted and said, honey, he's only been 15 minutes late for the last 30 days.
Nice.
I'm like, really? But this guy is setting the precedent to all the other employees.
Oh, right. I mean, I'm a recruiting company, so I totally get that. I always tell clients
walking all over
that if you're going to start your company over, right, and everybody's gone, anybody you wouldn't rehire, you should fire, right?
Exactly. So John Maxwell said, hey, like if you're a 4 or a 5, where you're at, you need to grow yourself to a 6 or 7. You're not going to attract a 6 or a 7 if you're a 4 or a 5. And that really resonates with a lot of people. Like, oh, okay, I get it. So yeah, like we've got online, you got podcasts, you got YouTube, you've got all this free stuff. Now, you know what? Instead of, buying another piece of equipment or another truck, like, hey, why don't we put some money into personal growth and development and learn how to be productive? Learn, how to, remove distractions. Let's learn, let's grow ourselves to a 7 so we can go out and hire a 6. Yeah, some of our people we hope will grow with us. We hope they'll go from a 4 to a 7 with me as I'm continuing my growth journey. Most won't. It's easier to get rid of the 4 and we'll find a 6 at that point.
Right. Now,
So
question, Craig, let's say you've spent a lot of time on personal growth in construction, you've successfully sold your own business. I would like a list, 2 or 3 or 4 books that you felt have made a major difference in your life, or people you listen to, that the people listening to this podcast should read or listen or whatever to help change themselves, because you've done it. So maybe you can tell me.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a few that I'm on the author, so I may look. For me personally, like I used to stay up all night worrying about I wasn't getting enough sleep. So for me, Miracle Mornings by Hal Elrod was just a life change. Like it started the change. It was huge on starting the change. Hal Elrod, Miracle Mornings, why you get up, why you want to get up and be productive. So that part where the kids and the wife and everything, you need that part of your day to where you can set the tone and it's just you. And, you've got a little bit of a ritual. It's called Savers, which is spirituality, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and then writing, scribing. So basically, if you can get up an hour and a half before everybody else to do that, there's just a zen about having a candle, it's still dark, you're watching the sun come up, and you're just getting at peace with yourself so that you can go out and tackle the rest of the day. So that was huge for me. So Hal Elrod, Atomic Habits, and that's who I'm forgetting the name of the author. Do you know who that is? I can pull it up real quick.
Okay.
So Atomic Habits was another big one. And then I would say the Compound Effect by Darren Hardy was huge. I loved that one. As far as just a little bit more and a little bit more, and just seeing how much that will actually, rise over the time. So Darren Hardy, I'm a big follower of him. He's got you can sign up. It's a weekly email, or it's a daily email called Darren Daily. Starts part of my miracle morning, is the 5 to 7 minutes watching his video. And then Brian Buffini, he's big in the real estate. He's probably the largest coaching in the Southwest in San Diego. Brian Buffini's podcast is amazing. It's, he is in real estate, but it goes across everything. It's really so broad. That's the thing, is you've got so much more to learn than just people that are in our industry. John Maxwell is the godfather of personal growth and development. I mean, he is just, in my eyes, that guy was one that really took it. Used to be a preacher and then got into personal growth and development. He taught so much. Jim Rohn's passed away. He's gone. Og Mandino's gone. But, these are all just people that really knew how to tell you why you want to do what you want to do. This is the
You can also, I guess today, between podcasts and audiobooks, and there's really no excuse to not spend time.
There's no excuse. Yeah. So I'm just like, hey man, instead of listening to music on the way down to the valley, down to Phoenix, right? Can you listen to a podcast? That's what I am. Like, can you please, I want you to hear these 3. I want you to do these 3 segments and report back to me what you learned on that. Okay. So that's kind of, a little bit.
I think Jim Rohn put it well. He said, Jim Rohn said, you got to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. And I totally believe that, right?
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. Jim Rohn is the one who's saying, put 10% of everything you make back into yourself, and it will more than pay for itself. And it's absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Okay. Absolutely. Well, I think this is some really great advice, Craig. If people want to get a hold of you, Craig, sort of describe to me your ideal client and how they would reach you.
So my ideal client, I would say, is probably somebody's, 6 to 7 years. They've been stuck. The last few years, they're not happy. They just, they're admitting that they need help. And again, this is a free evaluation. I'm not going to try and sell you anything. I want to see if we're a good fit for each other. But craigmoody.co, that's craigmoody.co. So there's, I mean, that's not the column, but craigmoody.co is my website. You can go in there, you can click on book a call. There's an email, it'll just send an email right to me, and I'll send you my calendar, and let's book a call and let's talk, let's video and see,
Okay.
if I'm a good fit for you, if I can help you out or give you some advice to help you get unstuck.
Well, it sounds like you want people that are willing to work on themselves. So the people that are, they're not victims, for lack of a better term. You want people that accept responsibility for their business and not blame the economy, their employees, or somebody else, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I would, that's it, because it's what it comes down to is like, I'm not, the hard truth is it is yourself. We all have the same amount of time. There's 24 hours. We all get the same 24 hours.
Right.
You can blame. I mean, if you're playing the blame game, how's that working for you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you've been playing the blame game all your life, you're probably there. But you've got to admit, if you're the business owner, whether it's in your marriage or it's in your relationship with your kids or relationship with your employees or relationship with self or where your business is currently at, you can blame people all you want. Bottom line is it's your fault. It's just, it is what it is. It's just you got to forgive yourself. Like let's just forgive yourself in the past and let's go forward. So just me trying to help paint a picture of what the future could look like is big with with most of my clients that I take on.
Okay, great.
Again,
so again, where do they get a hold of? Where do they get a hold of you, Craig?
craigmoody.co, craigmoody.co.
Cool. Well, thanks, Craig. Appreciate me. I totally agree with you. I've been doing this 50 years and I couldn't, everything you said is absolutely true. So I would like people to watch this. If you're looking for a coach and Craig appeals to you, it's sort of an intuitive kind of thing. You sound like the kind of guy you can relate to. I would definitely give him a call.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Craig.